Welcome back to the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Wisk and Kev, coming to you live from the Salisbury Center Studios in Manassas, Virginia, fueled by Monster Energy.
We just had a Stand Up and Shout Rock Show first. So, like, the sound engineer, literally, as the theme song was counting down, just ran in with the delicious beverage for a Saturday night. Cheers,
Cheers.
Scott. And right on, Scott. Thank you so much. Yes. Kevin, you're being responsible. Good for you.
Yeah, well, I have to head to the beach here soon, but
It's good for you, too.
anyway, so we're going to do a little chat. We got a...
Which, by the way, if you're heading to the beach on Wednesday, or I'm sorry, if you're heading to the beach today, we will not be broadcasting live on Wednesday. We have to make that point because we were making a point to broadcast live every other Wednesday.
Yep.
So we'll be waiting a week, but we'll see you, and which is really kind of why we're broadcasting live now on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
That, and, you know, we're here for the Glam Slam Metal Tour tonight.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
here from at the Salisbury Center. So, again, the show is going to be starting soon. So, if you are not already have tickets, you need to get in your car and get your ass down here because it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
What did you just say? If you are not, what?
I said if you're not already planning to be here, you need to get in your car and get your ass down here.
I gotcha.
Because it's going to be a great show.
Well, we talked to Chips enough.
We did. Yeah.
We've talked to Paul.
Mostly listen to Chips enough.
Chips enough talked a lot to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so we had a common theme with them that they're calling this glam metal, but I wouldn't necessarily call this a glam metal show. There's stylistically, this is, I don't know, it's a bend from that in a good way, in a great way. Not that glam metal's bad either, because we both like glam metal.
Yeah, no, and I certainly wouldn't classify any of these three bands as glam.
Exactly.
Maybe some influences of
Yes.
glam, but
Yeah.
No, definitely not. So, but it's going to be a great show, and we last night we saw Night Ranger here
did.
locally. It was a great show.
We had a great night last night, man.
Yep. Woohoo! Woohoo! And so in our conversations, and the Night Ranger the band is celebrating their 40th anniversary as a band.
Isn't that crazy?
It's totally crazy.
It's outrageous.
And
So Kevin and I, we had some merriment,
We did.
along with the show, and so we got spontaneous ideas for talking as we're talking right now, and so I almost bent, I think, what we were going to talk about this evening. We just kind of like spontaneously talked about some ideas because we started reminiscing so much.
Yep.
About 1983.
1983. Yep. So
I hadn't met you in 1983. It was 1984.
yep. No,
it was right
we
before I met
we
you.
were in 8th grade.
Different middle schools.
So
yeah.
our bud Lou was a freshman.
I was gonna say you knew Lou.
I did know Lou. Yep.
Yeah.
We go way back beyond
I
that.
hadn't met you yet either.
But
What?
In 1983. We're talking about 1983.
Nope.
No.
Kevin and I knew each other. Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? I knew Bart Harris in 1983. So Bart, if you're listening, thank you so much for saving me in the lunch line. And you know what I'm talking about.
I've known Kevin since, 77, something like that?
who is it that?
Yeah.
I
Third
couldn't even
grade
put.
is like-
yeah.
Yeah. I
I was
moved to Manassas
8,
in
yeah.
1983. So
Yeah. 3rd grade we
Yeah.
met. We were on the same soccer team.
Yep.
yeah.
So
That would have been like 76, 77, probably. Yeah.
Were you ever on different soccer teams? Because it'd be fun if you guys played against each other.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, in Massa, I mean, everybody's on different teams, but I think it was my first soccer team we were on that together. I don't know if that was your first, but it was mine.
It was mine, and your dad coached the team.
I was about to ask that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it was a while. I don't know that I don't specifically recall playing against Lou, but I think we
Yeah.
probably did.
I'm sure.
But then
Wait a minute. So how was Jim Salisbury as a coach? Like I imagine he's a no nonsense coach. I'm sure he was like, go whoop that kid. Like,
maybe not so much in 3rd grade. But
maybe
He was
little-
pretty straightforward. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember he was coaching my brother, and he had a couple of misfits on there that nobody wanted to pick, but they were great soccer players.
Yeah.
And they all laughed when my dad picked them.
Yeah.
And he got them out there, and they were just running laps because they were always in trouble.
Right.
they were the
So
Italians.
he ran them into the ground.
Yeah.
and they straightened up, and then they whooped everybody's ass.
Right,
that year
yeah,
because they
that's what
had
I'm
great soccer players, and he got them in line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I see him as like a coach you would want, but
everybody loved my dad though.
Right, of course.
He wasn't hateful. He just you got to do what you're supposed to do. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but then I do remember when we were in high school, we ended up on the same soccer team again, and
yep,
had a couple
at Stonewall.
Not on the high school team, but in the rec
I was gonna
program.
say I don't remember you playing. I remember you playing soccer.
Yep.
Jeff Salisbury.
I did. So this had to have been probably my freshman year, I think, because I think that was the last year I played soccer. Started
I
playing
played
indoor.
in high school, but I also played in between seasons as well. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
So 83.
83. But this is where all of this random personal conversation is coming from. Is like 1983.
So the other thing, over 4th of July weekend, and I think Scott can pull the link up, and sort of where we're heading with this edition of Bottoms Up, Sirius XM did a viewer or a listener poll.
Because it's 40 years ago. It was 1980.
40 years ago.
And so I would say that, maybe where this listener poll is coming from is 83 is a bit of a nominal year in music. It's a transitional year, right? Like kind of coming out of late 70s metal and rock. And then,
new wave.
It was like the crossover from old classic rock, Zeppelin and all that, to new wave to this.
Yes.
To what we know as
birth of glam.
Rock, yeah,
this is when glam was really starting to take root and getting noticed. Like 83 was kind of I feel like there's, kind of like a sports draft pick. You know what I mean? Like some draft picks, some years more than others.
Yeah.
And this, like 83 is like one of those years where
really glam started in the early 70s with New York Dolls probably.
Right. But American glam, I guess. Yeah. Or I guess New York Dolls are American, but aren't they punk?
No, they're considered the first glam band. All right. Because they dressed up like women and makeup and
But so 83 was sort of the start of the coming out of the new wave of British heavy metal to American metal starting to kind of take hold.
Yes.
And so I'm sure there will be a little bit more of this next year because 1984 was another great year in terms of rock and metal. So but Sirius XM, they did their listener poll, and over 4th of July holiday, I keep wanting to say weekend, but it was 4th of July holiday.
Midweek. Yeah, it was brutal.
They counted down from 40 to 1.
You know what was worse than the 4th of July, being midweek? The 5th of July.
The 5th of July?
That was much worse being midweek than the 4th of July.
So, we started chatting about this. We were at Night Ranger show last night celebrating their 40th anniversary.
Right.
And it all sort of made sense when we were looking at this list to come out with a new edition of Bottoms Up.
Let's do Bottoms Up 1983 edition.
So we're going to do
Scott, where's our Bottoms Up 1983 edition applause? There it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we even shot a message to Lou and we said, Lou, we're doing some Bottoms Up 1983 edition. And here we are.
Yep. So we're gonna count down and we had this conversation earlier too, not our top 10 from when we were in 1983.
Yeah.
But looking back at these albums now, look what would be our top 10.
Yeah, some of us did both.
Yeah.
I got extra credit.
I looked back. I took it from that. It would be hard. I don't know. Like it'd be hard to get into my
1983.
Preteen
persona.
mind. God knows what was going through my head. Like when I was listening to some of this stuff, right? Yeah.
Well, and for me, it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to do this.
We're going to do it.
All right. So
All right. So we have cards. We're doing our cards. And then Lou's just going to have to announce, because...
I'll chime in.
All right. I love it. All right. So, all right, 1, 2, 3. Number 10. What is it for you?
Queensryche.
Queensryche.
The EP.
Excellent. That's a good call. It's a great choice. I'm ZZ Top Eliminator.
Which was a huge album that year.
Okay, wait. I got to do this because I did this on purpose. I got a prop. This is like iconic because Eliminator's iconic, and I got the keychain, baby. I did. I got it. It was not brought to me in the Eliminator by 3 ex-playmates, but it was not done that way. But somehow I guess it would have a key on it for the Eliminator, But you can't go wrong with ZZ Top Eliminator because as I'm holding up the chain, it's iconic.
Do you and my brother Chris own everything that you've ever had? And, like, still?
I try
because
to.
you both have, like, pull out stuff from 40, 45 years ago, and it's, like, pristine condition.
I wanted to be the kid in the gas station and give me all your lovin'. That was just my dream. So if you're going back into your 13-year-old mind, I wanted to be that guy. Like,
is that keychain really 40 years old?
No, it's not. No, I found it more recently, but you know, I had to get it.
You tricked me. I thought that it was something
the original from 1980. I don't
like your T-shirts that you still wear from high school.
I still have a lot of those.
That's very annoying.
But no. Yeah.
I wish I still had mine.
I couldn't sew two of mine together and still wear it.
They're about to turn to powder.
Right. So what'd you have at number 10, Lou?
Number 10, in 1983, it was Dokken, but now,
breaking the chains.
Hanoi Rocks.
Ooh. Oh, okay. So you did a flip there.
I didn't know anything about Hanoi Rocks in 1983.
Yeah.
And then later on, I did.
Yeah.
Love that album.
Oh, of course. Back to the Mystery City. Back to Mystery City. But yeah, no. I'm not gonna call away from that album because that is a great freaking album.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other ones, you know, the Kiss, Lick It Up, and all that, but they were kind of one-hit wonders and sort of the transition between good old Kiss and good new Kiss and all that stuff. So that's why they didn't make the cut, whereas Hanoi Rocks did.
All right, let's go to number 9 on that note because voila. Kiss Lick It Up. And there's Dokken breaking the chains. Yes. Look at that. We're on this ballpark right now, just in different orders.
Yep. No, Quiet Riot.
Oh, that's a good call, though, too. I mean, you know, can't go wrong. Look, I mean.
Y&T for me back in 83.
Yeah.
Loved Y&T back then.
Of course. Yeah. But, like, Lick It Up, like, this is when the makeup came off.
Yep.
That was their last good new album, in my opinion.
Right. And I was about to say there's some like really great songs on this. I mean, just the title track of Lick It Up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like any strip club, I think it still stands the test of time. Like that's a great pole song, you know, like if you're into that kind of thing, you know? So yeah. And you know,
I can see that.
Everybody will remember that album for the makeup just coming off, just that in itself, which then set Kiss for the next 4 or 5 years, 6 years, no makeup.
Then, of course, Lick It Up is used in like all kinds of promos for the 80s.
Longer than 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they went through that whole run. It wasn't until
93, 94.
Yeah.
No, it was probably after that. I feel like I was a manager at Hooters, and we went to see them on the first tour when they came back with makeup. Like, that would have been like 96, 97.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I could be wrong, but my memory's failing as I get older.
I get it. I don't know. So like, not for me. Like I can't say like young versus old on this. I think I'm probably in the same place, you know, and liking Lick It Up now versus then. I'm probably in the same spot. All right.
Yeah, I think it's a little too soft for me.
I get it.
Now. Back
Number
then,
8?
I liked softer stuff.
Okay, so this, I've stepped outside. So this is, as you mentioned, Kevin, this is generated by Sirius XM. So I stepped outside of Sirius XM to look at some other stuff, 1983, and I had to pay some homage to our folk from Washington, D.C. So I went Minor Threat out of step. And so it says, this is the Sirius XM comes from Ozzy's Boneyard, the Hard and Heavy. So I think this may go more with their station of Faction. But in terms of, I would not say that I knew of this album in 1983. I was brought to this album later in life, like my ZZ Top Eliminator keychain, but still I love it just as much. So that's why I went, and I had to, again, of course, pay homage to some hometown boys.
Right. And I went with
What's a good call? It's a
Midnight
great call.
Madness.
Yep.
Which probably in 83 would have been my number 2 or 3 album. Just a great album. I was listening to it all the time back then.
We listened to it a lot last night.
And we did last night too. And it was just as good.
Yeah.
So going with, I was much more pop back then and heavier now. For me, it was Crue back then at number 8.
Oh.
Yeah, Lowdown because they were new to me. But I agree with Kevin, number 8, Night Ranger.
Wow, look at you guys. In lockstep.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice.
Sweet.
All right.
Number 7.
Number 7. So here's my Hanoi Rocks Back to Mystery City.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, and this was, of course, like, I think they're known obviously anymore for the death of Razzle with Motley Crue and because of Motley Crue, but
they were like big back then. Like
Yes.
they were about ready to explode.
and they were almost like the theme of like Talking to Enough's Enough and the Choir Boys Tonight. They were really hard to pigeonhole.
Yep.
Like I think like listening to it, especially now, if you listen to this album now, you'll hear like a lot of things that you have heard before.
Yeah.
Because people have built off of their sound, including Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
But at the time, that was really innovative and very different, and it was hard to pigeonhole and classify in any kind of way. It's not punk rock, it's not glam rock, it's not pop. I don't know what it is, but it's great.
I had to look it up.
There you go. And you're a Kiss guy.
I am. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, this was the first one without the makeup, so that was of interest. And then, I guess Animalize came out after Lick It Up, so that was probably the last. This Lick It Up and Animalize were probably their two best, in my opinion, albums.
Nice.
Sans makeup.
Yep. I'm with you. Yeah.
So 1983, Jeff, was Dio, Holy Diver.
Okay.
But now I say Dokken.
Okay.
Yeah, Dio I was just getting into heavy metal back then, and the album cover was awesome. And they were just starting to play that on MTV, and he was really popular when that first came out and hit. So that's why that. But Dokken for me was number 7.
Excellent.
As of today.
I don't know how you segregated 1983 from now. That's impressive.
Yeah, I just thought about what I was listening to back then and what sort of spoke to me back then, and because some of the stuff, I hadn't even heard of Metallica at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I couldn't put Metallica on my list back in '83.
Right. This, I'll go, Hanoi Rocks and Back to Mystery City. That was, I really didn't listen to this in '83. Damon Schaefer, our buddy Damon, turned me on to this in '84. So, I couldn't have done that, and segregated it back to it and had this, on my list then because I heard it after the fact.
And he benefited from having 2 older brothers
Yes.
that were into rock music,
Yep.
much like I had my older stepbrothers. So, I was listening to stuff in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
All right. What number are we on?
6.
We on number 6? I just see what's next on the list. All right. Number 6, Quiet Riot's Metal Health.
Very good.
This
Very
excellent.
Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Yeah. What you got? Kevin's got Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden.
Gotcha. Number 6, 1983, Jeff. Kiss, Lick It Up.
Yeah.
I was a Kiss fan when I was a kid.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's why they're sort of a little higher. And then Def Leppard, because that's all you heard in middle school.
Of course. Yeah. Yep. I don't know.
And that was classic Def Leppard, the best Def Leppard back in those years.
You guys are gonna make me feel guilty about this because I have a feeling you have this ranked lower than I've just pulled mine out. I know this is on both of your lists, so I know this is coming. But what an amazing album!
It was a great
I
album.
had Quiet Riot lower on my now list.
Oh, so you mean like
Quiet
lower?
Riot was number 9 for me now.
Gotcha. I'm confusing your lists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. All right. I'm out of the box again for number 5. Bad Brains Rock for Light. I got to go.
Good.
I know. This is the end of their really kind of initial run before they go, in and out of their breakups. And there's redone songs, from the first couple albums on this, but I had to give Bad Brains some love.
Yeah. They deserve it.
Yeah.
And I had Quiet Riot.
Yeah. There we go. Make me feel better that it wasn't way down. Because it is an amazing album.
Well, they and a couple others on this list, sort of set up metal.
Oh yeah, that was the first number 1 metal song. I don't really want to glam metal song if you want to call it that, but that was
Well,
the
it's
number
considered one of the first heavy metal songs.
Yes.
The 80s era heavy metal, not the Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath heavy metal.
Right.
For sure. So I have back then, what 8th grader doesn't love Balls to the Wall, except I loved that back then.
I think it's just an amazing metal riff. In Balls to the Wall. I mean, that's instantly recognizable. It's a pure metal riff. It's just so cool.
Yeah. And then as I've gotten older, Dio moved up the charts. So Dio is number 5 for me for now. Mm-hmm. I was listening to him 2 days ago. I just forgot how awesome it was. Last in Line when he kicks in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a great video too.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. Here we go. I got Metallica, Kill 'Em All. There's Kevin's Dio, Holy Diver.
Ooh, there you go.
Yep.
So my number 4 back then was Def Leppard, of course. And then for me now, Ozzy.
Nice.
Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So I probably would have put Ozzy probably in and around this area, but this is another one I was not listening to in 1983. I was exposed to it later, but then of course fell in love with it. So again, my list is coming from that older perspective.
Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously, this was the first one from Dio.
Yep.
Stand Up and Shout. Holy Diver.
Right.
And basically, metal as we came to know it.
And
Video-wise, music-wise, and,
and it named a podcast after one of the slogans in its songs.
It did.
That happened.
Yeah.
And what a cool cover. That's an iconic album cover.
It is. And if you haven't seen the documentary on Ronnie James Dio, Dreamers Never Die, it goes real in depth into how they put obviously the album together, but also the cover and the artwork and
the guy who nearly died.
The guy who nearly died. And then the videos that came with it, which there's a lot of great cameos in there from, Don Dawkins in there talking about how the Dio music videos were just legendary and tried to compare. He's like, they were doing stuff and you look at our Breaking the Chains video and it's a great documentary, so definitely should check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, good call, Kevin. Number 3. All right, here we go. This is where it gets to be tough in the top 3. All right, here we go. I got Pyromania. There's my Pyromania.
I respect that.
Yeah. What happened to Def Leppard? Like, as I hold up this out,
they hit the wall.
The originals just, I don't know where they are anymore. I don't. Green Bay Ray, you're going to love me for saying that, because now you've been wanting me to call that out forever and ever. Because, I hold up this album. This album was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Incredible.
It's wicked amazing. And then, now, I guess it's a little bit of the disappointment. Maybe the songs aren't so bad now, but compared to this,
yeah. Yeah, it's hard to compare to the early Def Leppard.
Oh, the first 3 albums.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had 1983 Jeff.
Yeah.
Quiet Riot.
Okay, yeah.
That was what started getting me into heavy metal.
Of course.
And I wore that cassette tape out.
Yep.
Playing it all the way around every single time. It was great.
Yep.
But new me, current me, Metallica.
Okay. Man, you and Kevin, you're lockstep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Number 2. I'm ready for number 2. There's my Midnight Madness.
There you go.
Look,
Wow. Number 2?
Number 2, because I think it still hits me this deeply now, like it hit me this way last night, over and over again by multiple songs. Because to me, thematically, there's a lot of coming of age. And Sister Christian's an obvious example of a coming of age song, but there's more coming of age songs, not only in this album, but on Dawn Patrol. And so when you hear those songs 40 years later with some beer, and you know me, I can get a little sentimental.
Yeah, brings you back to being 15, 16 years old.
Yes, exactly.
14.
And that happened last night.
Yep.
I still feel all of that. And this was also to me my gateway drug into metal. I would not call this metal necessarily.
Right.
And it's definitely hard rock. And when I was a kid, at least, I wasn't ready to go down and listen to Kill 'Em All yet, or Bad Brains, Rock for Light yet.
Yeah.
But I could swallow down.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? So that was my gateway drug. And then it's kind of like other people were like, well, that was heavy, but you could probably handle this now. And they were right. You know what I mean? And you got turned on to that.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, that's why I had it where I had it. And it, my number 1 back then is my number 1 still. And that would have been my number 2 back then.
Yeah.
So what's your number 2?
Shout.
I can't see it.
Shout Out the Devil.
Gotcha.
He's Motley Shout, which is an amazing album.
Nice.
Get around that, how amazing that album is.
So the funny thing is, 1983 Jeff agrees with you, Night Ranger.
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, that just, like you said, it just brought me back to 1983. Totally.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I could just see myself in my room, where I was living, which house I was living in at the time.
Yep.
Like, everything. And just everything's so iconic. But now, Queensryche. How did you not know that? How did you not see that?
I saw that.
Is there a Living Color album in 1983 that I can hold up right now?
Yeah, see, I can crush you on this one because there's no Living Color to
right,
compare
I gotta
with.
wait 6 years.
Yep.
You're killing
Queen
me.
of the Reich, dude.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I can still listen to that EP
Yes.
now, like, and I'll get so hyped up for that.
I'm surprised it's not your number one now.
Well, you know it's got to be number one.
I think so. Are you coming up? There's my shout at the devil. Oh, that's not. That's good, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin's got Pyromania.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you now. Back then it was ZZ Top Eliminator.
Okay,
That was
yeah.
Gold Chain, Tan Jeff at his peak. Thinking he's going to step out of the Eliminator. With the hot chips, yeah. But yeah, I agree. Crue now that was it.
This is one of my top 5 albums of all time.
And I didn't have them in my top 10 back then because I hadn't even heard of them. It was like probably 84. I started hearing about Motley Crue.
Yeah.
It was after the Razzle's death that I really started hearing about them.
Right. The rebellion in this album, the hedonism in this album,
Yeah.
I
mean, that's just classic.
the debauchery in this.
Yeah.
This is Appetite for Destruction before Appetite for
yeah.
Destruction was
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
And it's not a dig.
It's rock stars being rock stars.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was 84 when I first heard that album, and I started when In the Beginning came on. I was like,
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, it was scary.
I need to turn this off until my parents leave the house.
Yes. Yeah. I get it.
But Pyromania,
It's a great
I
album.
played it all the time, and anytime I hear it, it's on Sirius all the time. It takes me back to Friday night videos because they
Yeah.
were playing
Yeah. Yep.
back then.
When you couldn't get MTV because you couldn't
Right.
get cable into your house, and that was
Yep.
the only way we could watch
And
videos.
It was nonstop. I listened to this all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've seriously taken it down another road after this album. But
Yeah.
High and Dry, Pyromania,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, excellent. So the one I struggled with, because I still feel like it's 1983, is the Van Halen album 1984.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was released in 1983. It was released, and I looked it up. It was January 9th of 1984. So it was like on the cusp, and I think
Right.
they probably just held it up,
Intentional,
right? Just like so the year would match when it was released, and obviously for the book. And,
Sure. Yeah.
But I was like, that's a 1983 album to me. So I think of it that way. So I wanted to list it.
Because it's still in your middle school years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, when we do the 1984 bottoms up,
So we could, because 1984 was not even an offshoot. I feel like it ties into this year. Got Rat Out of the Cellar.
Yep.
Like it would be easy to include in a list like this.
Absolutely.
We have Motley. Am I missing?
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi, yes. Yeah, their first album.
Was that Runaway?
Yes, Bon Jovi, Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm.
yep, 84 Ride the Lightning came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still wasn't into Metallica then.
Yeah.
It was not until leaving the bus as busboys at Halo Dinner Theater. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You guys introduced me to it. And Damon's, what was it? What car was he driving back then?
It was
the Mustang 2 or whatever.
LN7
Yeah.
with a bra on it.
Yeah. Like me, he had the Mac Daddy speakers that were only high end, no subs.
Yep.
So everything was super tinny back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your ears are ringing every time you get out of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good job, fellas. I mean, that's tough
Yeah.
to do. I feel like whittle those. SiriusXM did 40 choices. That was based on fan vote, so that was wide open.
Yeah.
Those are the top 40 choices.
We had some
whittled.
good choices.
Yeah.
They didn't miss some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Minor Threat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
should've
I
been
like
in there.
that you went back and found a few other nuggets.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the other one from 1984, because I wanted to go down this road, was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But that was also put out in 1984. I was thinking that was 1983 also.
Yeah.
Did you see the article recently where Flea said that's
He
the one
hated that
album? He hated that
Yes,
album. It's
yeah.
the one album he wants to re-record.
Yep.
And I thought that was interesting.
That'd be so hard because that album is so gritty. And I mean, Anthony Kiedis would have to go to a wild, young Anthony Kiedis
Right.
place to kind of pull that off again.
And it maybe explains part of why they stay away from
Right.
those older albums.
Yeah. 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 All right, fellas, good work
Good
today.
job.
Yeah.
And if you see this, outside of, we're live right now, but if you see this outside of the live discussion and conversation, we always want you to be a part of the conversation because our opinions are not the right opinions, and we want to hear yours. So,
We're getting more and more comments on
Yeah.
YouTube.
yeah, comment
Agreeing
away.
and disagreeing.
Yep, I love it, and that's what we
I
like
love the
to
one
see.
dude. Did you see him? He said, "Oh yeah, you guys seem pretty cool. Like you partied hard as hell." When you're talking about the Gen X, he was giving the props.
We were pissed off that Gen Z wasn't buying booze inside of
Yeah,
venues.
Some of them were defending themselves.
Yeah.
They can't afford a $70 T-shirt.
yeah.
And then other ones were like, "Yeah, you guys seem like you party."
That's an understatement.
Scott's throwing up some comments. Oh yeah,
Look at that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I love it.
hit us up on the YouTube channel, obviously, and on all the socials.
Absolutely, because and we will include this in the conversation. Well, I mean, we've done bottoms up. What we've done, what I think has worked really well is when we talked about that with Age of Ruin. We brought them into bottoms up, and I mean, I don't know if we have anybody in mind for 1983 bottoms up, but there could be other approaches in other ways, and we'd like to get their opinions too, because none of this, is objective. It's always subjective.
I think we need to turn it into a drinking game next time.
All right. Ooh, that'd be interesting. Like, yeah.
Like if you
match,
then
yeah.
you drink, or maybe if you match the other person.
Yes,
drinks,
you can tell the
something like
person to
that.
drink. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
We're going to become the drinking game rock show.
And we'll show everybody how hard we did party.
That's right. Nobody can beat Kevin at quarters, that's for sure.
Or Anchorman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, Kevin was the anchor man.
Always.
Always.
All right. Well, think we're going to...
That'll wrap us up, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrapping us up.
If we can get
Bad marriage.
Bad Marriage in here, we'll be talking to you more. Otherwise, we'll see you in a week or two on Wednesday again after our beach vacation.
And thanks for joining us on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show.
And we will also see you on Local Palooza. Don't forget the Saturday,
Yep.
July 21st,
Yeah.
Local Palooza.
22nd.
22nd.
Sorry about that. Yes, thank you so much for the correction. First try will be there, so you could see me belt some tunes out.
Can't wait.
All right, love it. I can't wait either.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.
See ya.